Please welcome challengers of the unknown, Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Hello and welcome to Xplay, the show that brings you brutally honest video game reviews.
Today, however, we've been blessed with a boatload of good games. It's a boat.
It's a boat? Not only do we have a game where you use your mind to beat the pudding out of people, we've also got Final Fantasy.
Plus a strategy game for the Magical War fans.
And an iToy game that makes players flail wildly.
But most importantly, we'll be abusing all three major consoles to find out which one, the Xbox, the PS2, or the GameCube, can handle the damage that Morgan Webb and the Sledgehammer can dish out.
The answer may shock you, but we begin with a game that bears more than a passing resemblance to PsyOps, the Exploding Head game. Here's a review of Second Sight. So maybe you're...
And Morgan Webb.
Where are they?
Here.
What, me?
Here. Welcome back to Xplay.
We have returned with a game that throws warlords, elves, and robots into a blender to make a nerdy strategy smoothie.
It's the sequel to a game that didn't really need one, and it has some really bad voice acting, so it's sure to be a winner.
Here's a review of Kohan 2, King's War.
Yeah, Rome Total War may not have giant robots, but it is, hands down, the best strategy game we've played this year.
So if you only buy one strategy game, skip Kohan 2 and have yourself a Roman killing good time.
And continue watching our show, because when we come back, we'll show you the latest way the iToy is making gamers everywhere into flailing dorks.
I love flailing dorks.
That was flaying dorks.
Flaying?
Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Welcome back to Xplay. Actually, speaking of dignity, it's kind of hard to have any when you're playing this next game.
Here's a review of iToy, Anti-Grav. You can almost tell we're down in LA because the interns have gotten better looking, which is a horrible thing to say about our interns back in San Francisco.
Well, the San Francisco interns also refuse to wax your back. In LA, everyone's trying to get a job, so they're all...
Wax?
Yeah.
Anyway, I scream like a little girl every time. I scream like a little girl under most circumstances, actually.
Yes, everything makes you scream like a little girl. Naked Ride-In,
That's true.
That was bad. Viewer mail every day, our message boards. Now, if you want to learn more about the show and of course, our new interns, visit our website.
What's it? G4TechTV.com/Xplay.
Yes.
I'm learning.
We have forums where you can make fun of us, and we also have our Xplay game where you can control us. Adam hits things
With a fish.
with a fish.
It's very.
great.
I've done it in
Good
real
night.
life. It hurts.
So maybe you're trying to decide if you should spend your $50 on PsyOps or Second Sight.
Here's a cheat sheet. If you like making people's heads explode and don't care if the story is completely stupid, you buy PsyOps.
Now, if gore doesn't interest you, but a deep and rewarding story featuring time travel and an outcome affected by the gameplay does, that's when you pick up Second Sight.
And if you like Final Fantasy, maybe you should watch this next review.
Yeah, it's the first US expansion pack for Final Fantasy XI Online.
Here's a review of Final Fantasy XI Online. Change a Promethea. Yeah, it'll take you about 2 or 3 hours to install Change of Promethea.
Which adds insult to injury when you consider that Sony isn't even making the PS2 hard drive anymore.
Now, does this mean that Square will be taking its signature franchise to a different console? Or does it simply mean that Final Fantasy nerds will have to resort to playing with themselves once again?
Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Probably not.
No. Welcome back to Xplay.
We have returned with the answer to an age-old question.
If you get ticked off and throw your GameCube off your roof, will it still work?
How about your Xbox?
Or your PS2?
Today we spent a ridiculous amount of money destroying our consoles, so you don't have to. Watch.
It got kind of like porny at the end. You with a hammer might be, someone's special finish.
Ew. Every time I got a discrete error on my PS2, I wanted to smash it. And now, after attacking it with a sledgehammer, I feel like I have closure.
And by the way, in case you guys are like, yeah, I said the GameCube survived once, I bet if they tried it again, the results would be different. You're wrong!
Yeah, we did it twice, and both times the PS2 was the first to die, and the Cube was the lone survivor. So if you're planning on having an abusive relationship with your console, Nintendo's little box is the one for you, you horrible domestic batterer.
Yeah.
And Morgan Webb.
Where are they?
Here.
What, me?
Here. Welcome back to Xplay.
We have returned with a game that throws warlords, elves, and robots into a blender to make a nerdy strategy smoothie.
It's the sequel to a game that didn't really need one, and it has some really bad voice acting, so it's sure to be a winner.
Here's a review of Kohan 2, King's War. Hi.
And continue watching our show, because when we come back, we'll show you the latest way the iToy is making gamers everywhere into flailing dorks.
I love flailing dorks.
That was flaying dorks.
Playing?